This week I've created another new outfit and it's a nod to the infamous Claudia and the Traitors. Hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher and welcome to my sewing space. Yes, this week is all about an outfit that's been in my head for the longest time, and it's taken a little bit of work finding the right patterns and the fabric to make it work together. So let's move on to the garments I've made. I'm wearing them and I know you can't see them very well, so while I'm talking some videos and visuals will be popping up at this side and then you understand what the heck I'm going on about. But I've made 3 garments and 1 bag this week. I know, I was on fire. So let's start with the blouse. So the blouse I'm wearing, you can't see it very well under here, but there'll be visuals coming up here for you. The blouse is the Zamara blouse from Itch to Stitch, one of my favourite pattern companies because of the cup sizing that they do and really good instructions as well. So I've made the Zamara blouse and it comes in A, B, C, D and double D cup sizes, and by that I mean that you get individual pattern pieces for each of those cup sizes in this pattern. Brilliant. It's got a feminine V-neck with a bow tie, button down front, gathered sleeves with a gathered cuff as well, intricate front pleat releases and a back pleat, 3/4 bracelet sleeves or full length. So a really meaty sew for me, this one, but loved it. They say the skill level is intermediate, which I've got to agree with. Comes in sizes 0 up to 20. And you need 1.5 to 1.7 metres of fabric, which equates to 1 5/8 or 1 7/8 yards. So what do I think of the Zamora blouse? Well, I flipping well love it. A few little things went wrong and a few things were a little bit challenging. So the challenge for me was the pleats at the front, or tucks at the front. There's 4 of them, they're all different lengths, so you've got to mark your pattern. Now the way I did it was cut down each of the slits and then folded the paper back and used a ruler and drew the lines in, then folded the next one, drew the line, and that worked for me. But you need to have a really reliable way to mark those pleats, whether you use a iron off pen, some chalk. Steph actually uses little pieces of soap which work really good on dark fabrics. So you need a good way of marking those pleats in or tucks in on the front, but they are so flattering and so worth it. The other thing that I had a little bit of an issue with was the bow tie and the neck. Never done one of these before, weirdly. Well, I might have done years ago, but I can't remember. So I read through it, thought, blah, 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 like you do, skim, read it. Fatal mistake. Blindly went on, made the tie up, turned it out, pressed the slit closed, and then very delicately hand stitched the slit closed as well. Steph would have been proud of me. Yes, so I fluffed the tie up mega. So word of warning, when you're cutting the piece out for the ties, you cut 2 of them out on the fold and there are little circles marks in from the fold. So make sure you mark that circle mark for your size on both pieces. Then you're going to join those 2 pieces together so that extends where those circle marks are. You get with me so far, and that's where I'd gone wrong. I'd marked it on one, on both. I don't know what I did. I just measured it wrong. So it was like half the depth, the width that it needed to be. And then it still didn't fit. But then I had the light bulb moment, went back to the pattern piece and thought, oh. So went away, had a nice cup of tea, and then came back, unpicked it, repressed it, redid the tie. And now it fits perfectly. I made a size 40 and it's a really good fit on me. The only alterations I made were I took a skimpy 1/2 inch off the shoulder so that the sleeve fits nicely at my shoulder point, and I took out 2 inches in the length of the shirt as well, blouse as well. So not too many alterations on that one either. I've made mine in a William Morris-esque print that I got in a viscose fabric from Roy's at the Festival of Quilts last year. So that's another piece of fabric out of my stash, and I think it looks really well in it. Will I make another one? Hell yes. I want to make one in a linen fabric, a plain fabric, so that you can see that pleat detail more in the front. So watch this space. Might have to buy some cotton linen to make it in, and then it will press really nicely, won't it? Next up was another itch to stitch pattern, and it's the Cubrada skirt. Now I bought fabric for this skirt with the pattern in mind, and I got a beautiful faux fur or moleskin feel medium weight fabric from the Knit and Stitch in November at Harrogate. Now my bugbear with this sort of fabric is what it feels like on the inside. If it feels like polyester and nylon on the inside, definitely not one for me. But this stuff is really soft and fluffy on the inside as well as the outside, so I just had to have it. Now it wasn't cheap, I think it was about £16 a metre, but so worth paying that money for. It's sold like a dream, it's come together really well, and I'm super pleased with the result. So let's talk about the Cubrada skirt. It's got an A-line silhouette, gored skirt, so that means there's panels all round this skirt, which is brilliant when you're trying to get a good fit as well. So there's 5 panels in the front and 6 in the back. 2 length options, so you can have midi length or ankle length. The waist finishes with a facing, not a waistband, which is great for the old tum area, really comfortable round the waist. And it has a simple centre back zip, so no invisible zip in this baby. So suitable for somebody who wants to try a skirt and has never made a zip before. Brilliant. So their skill level for the skirt is a beginner plus, and I would agree with that. The only thing that you might find a little bit difficult is taking your time. All the panels are top stitched. So take your time with your top stitching, use a seam guide. If you've got a 1/4 inch foot that you use for quilting, use that, that's really good, and then you'll get your top stitching absolutely bob on. And it's important because it's a feature of the skirt, and there's all those panels to top stitch. So it comes in sizes 00 to 40, so good size range, and you need 1.9 to 2.8 metres of fabric, which is the equivalent of 2 1/8 to 3 1/8 yards. So not too bad. I thought it would use a lot more fabric than that, being an A-line skirt with all the panels, but because the panels are all narrow, you can maximise your fabric to its full potential. And I think I got it out of about 1.5 metres. Get me. But I am a midget, so you know, you've got to bear that in mind. What do I think of the Cubrada skirt? Again, I love it. I just love it. I made a size 40 and I trialled it first in some cheaper faux fur fabric in cream that I had in my stash. It does fit, and it will fit if I could lose a few pounds around the midriff. But at the moment, it is a little bit snug from the hips to the waist. By that I mean breathe in when you're doing the zip up. So that was okay. It was a trial, a toile. So when I made my actual one in my precious fabric, I'm so glad I did that practice one, because it meant I could make the alterations and get a really good fit. I'd have been gutted if I'd made it and it had been too tight and I couldn't, no wiggle room to make it any bigger at the waist area and the hips. That would have been an absolute nightmare. Well, actually, it would have made me go on a diet, wouldn't it? So maybe there would have been a plus side to it. But I knew it needed to be bigger at the waist and hips, so I graded out very, very slightly on every single panel at that point. I could have just done it at the sides and graded out there, but I wanted it to be perfect, so and fit well, and all the panels be in the right place. So I took my time, graded out every single panel, and I got a good fit. As I've already said, the only difficult or time consuming bit with this skirt is all the top stitching. And I suppose you don't have to do that top stitching, but it's a feature of the skirt to me and makes all the panels stand out and look stunning. It's a flattering style for shorties. Yes, I found a skirt that doesn't chop me in half, doesn't make me look like I've got my grandma's skirt on. I don't think so anyway. All the panels are small panels and they elongate your body strangely. So it's a bit of an optical illusion and one that I'm loving. So I will be making at least one more of these skirts. The only alteration I made apart from the sides was, I think I took about 4 inches out of the length. There are shortening lines on every panel piece, so take your time with that. Make sure they all match up before you cut out, if you make the alterations that I've had to make, or if you have to lengthen them. If you're lucky and you're pushing 6 foot, then the same applies. Just make sure that they all match up before you cut them out in your precious fabric. So what fabric do I think I will make another Cubrada skirt in? I quite fancy one in linen for the spring, and I need to find something nice. I want a mid-weight viscose linen fabric, and I've got an idea to make a linen capsule for the spring and summer, but we'll talk about that another time when I've actually managed to find the linens that I want. So I'm after viscose linens. I want 2 or 3 patterned and some plains that all blend together. So if you know a one-stop shop where I can get all those, please let me know. Moving on, I digress, to the next garment, and it's the one I'm wearing. It's the Stevie Slipover from Sew Over It. Now, while I'm looking at you, I've noticed I've got some drag lines on this top, and it's annoying me a little bit. I think it's because it's a little bit tight around the armhole area, so I'm going to make a note to scoop out a little bit more under the arm next time I make this, and it might not have as many drag lines, but I think it still looks a bit of a stunner, and it's a great scrap buster. So let's have a chat about the Stevie. It's a knitted vest with a V or a round neck option, so you've got 2 options. I've done the V neck. It comes out in less than 1.5 meters of fabric, whatever size you're doing. Now, if you're my size, brilliant scrap buster. The skill level for this is for absolute beginners. So if you've got into sewing, you're wanting to start using jersey and knit type fabrics, then give the Stevie a go. It's a quick and easy make. The only difficult bit is getting that point of the V right if you're doing the V-neck, so maybe just do the round neck first till you get the sizing right, and then challenge yourself with the V-neck if you're a beginner. It comes in UK sizes 6 up to 30. Now it's split into 2 size bands with this one, so 6 to 20 is a B cup, and then 18 to 30 goes up to a D cup. So they are trying with their cup sizes, but why they think that if you're under a size 18 you're going to be a B cup, I don't know, because that's not necessarily the case, is it? And you'd have to do a bust adjustment. But if you're lucky, and controversially the other way, if you're from a size 20 up, they assume that you've got big boobs and you're a D cup. It can work for some people, but it isn't going to work for everybody. So you will have to do, potentially, cup adjustments on it. And I think maybe with these drag lines, maybe that's something else I'll do. I'll alter it around there, and if that doesn't work, then I'll do a bit of a bust adjustment. Maybe I am a B cup, but I'm the top end of fitting into the B cup, so maybe that's something I need to look at. But it uses hardly any fabric, so, you know, loads of scope to play with this pattern and get a really good fit without it costing you an absolute fortune in fabric. So my experience of making the Stevie. I made a size small, first of all. I used scraps, so I wasn't too bothered, but I loved the finish. Way too small for me. It was probably partly because it was in sweatshirting fabric, which doesn't have as much give, so bear that in mind. If you haven't got really stretchy rib or knit fabric, then definitely size up at least one size with this, because it is a snug fit. This one I've made in a size medium, and as I said, there's still alterations I need to tweak. It's a bit too tight under the arms, so if I do that and pull that arm down to give more room, that's kind of working a lot better. So maybe I need more room under my arms to get rid of those drag lines, but I'm okay with it. So there we go, 3 garments all made, and I did say that I made 3 garments and a bag. Here it is. It is the new pattern from Charlie's Aunt, which is becoming one of my favourite bag pattern companies, and it's called the Cove Heath messenger bag or crossbody bag. Now, it's a new pattern and it's on offer. They sell them on Etsy, and there is a whopping 35% off of this because it's the intro price for their new pattern. So you can get this for just over £5. Well worth it, really good instructions, and look at the finish. So I've used fabrics from all my recent makes, brilliant for scrap busting. So the back has got the suede in from my skirt, and then that panel on the front has got it. The check is from the pearl pants that I made recently, and then the centre panel I've used the stretchy knit fabric but stabilised it with some medium interfacing, and I've used that for the mid panel. And then inside has got the green viscose from my blouse. So I've used everything in my garment plus a little bit extra to make a very nice bag. So if you've not looked at Charlie's Aunt bags, go and give it a nosy. They're really good. I'd say they are fairly beginner friendly. So this looks a really complicated bag, not at all. Just follow the instructions, comes out like a dream. I made it in a day, so it isn't a meaty make. by any stretch on the bag front, and I feel more of these coming out of my scrap bag soon.